From 1989 to 1999, the authoritative Ring magazine, which Oscar de la Hoya currently owns, annually awards the best boxing knockout of the year. So, in today's episode, we will recall the first part of these brightest and toughest knockouts. The first and most historical fight on the knockout list was Michael Nunn and Sumbu Kalambe in March 1989. It was a fight for the middleweight title of the IBF, which belonged to Michael, who at the time was an undefeated boxer with a record of 32-0.
Having a hard time bringing these guys together for these pre-fight instructions.
Shake hands, good luck.
Well, Kalambe speaks no English.
In the middle of the ring.
Nunn knocked out his opponent in the first round and defended his league title.
And down goes Sumbu Kalambe after a major league left inside by Nunn.
It looks as though Kalambe isn't going to be...
Later in 2004, this former boxing star and champion of two versions of the IBF and WBA went to jail for a long 25 years for drug trafficking. However, he was released in 2019 for good behavior. Next up, we have the year 1990 and the title fight for the WBC belt in the first middleweight. This battle was between America's rising star Terry Norris and Ugandan champion John Mugabe, who won the silver medal of the Olympics in Russia. John also ranked 38th in the list of the 100 most frightening punchers in boxing history, according to the Ring magazine. In the first round, Terry hit his opponent with a right cross, which turned out to be fatal for John, who collapsed to the floor of the ring and could not recover for a very long time. Thus, Terry Norris became the new WBC champion and held the title for 3 years, until he also got knocked out by Simon Brown. In 1991, the Ring magazine took the year off for reasons unknown to us, and the prize was not awarded. But in 1992, they decided to catch up, and immediately 2 fights were awarded the knockout prize of the year. The first was a duel between Japanese boxer Akinobu Hiranaka and Filipino Morris East for the second bantamweight title of the WBA. After this knockout of Hiranaka, an intracranial hemorrhage occurred and he had to end his boxing career. His overall record was 20 wins and 2 losses with 18 knockout wins. According to Wikipedia, this is the highest percentage of early victories among all Japanese boxers in history. The second knockout of 1992 happened at a meeting between the Olympic champion Kennedy McKinney and the IBF welterweight champion Welcome Nkita, for whom it was the 7th title defense. In the 11th round, Kennedy inflicted a crazy right hook that deprived the champion not only of the belt, but also of his consciousness, and the fighter balanced on the edge for some more time while doctors brought the loser to his senses. After this overthrow of the champion, Kennedy fought 5 title defenses and was knocked out himself, literally falling into another list, namely the upset of the year, according to the Ring magazine.
First time in 32 contests, and you would have bet a lot of money against that ending, even 60 seconds before it happened.
In 1993, the battle of the 2 toughest middleweight punchers took place. It was from this fight that the Knockout Prize of the Year was awarded. In one corner was WBC champion Julian Jackson, and in the opposite corner, the famous challenger Gerald McClellan, whom Don King called Mini Mike, comparing him with Mike Tyson, even though Gerald had an even larger percentage of knockouts in the first round than Iron Mike.
Right now, very difficult to catch is Gerald McClellan. Quite elusive. Low blow by Julian Jackson. Low. That was a big, heavy shot down south. Another one. And McClellan.
The outcome of this battle came in the 5th round. McClellan knocked Jackson down, but to his great surprise, he got back on his feet, about as incredibly as Tyson Fury got up after being hit by Deontay Wilder. There was a second series of attacks from Gerald, and Jackson fell to the floor of the ring, but again got to his feet at the count of 5. The referee saw that Jackson was seriously shocked and stopped the fight. The championship belt changed owners. Gerald became the WBC World Champion.
And he is the new WBC middleweight champion. After that first knockdown, you could see he was totally...
But Gerald's career is another reminder of some of the more serious consequences of boxing. In 1995, he suffered a serious brain injury and fell into a coma. Gerald remained permanently paralyzed. He could not move without assistance and also went blind and almost deaf. Very soon, we will feature a separate video about this story. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss it. (1994) Heavy hitter George Foreman, who had returned to the ring in 1987 after a decade of retirement, set his sights on the title once again. In 1991, having scored 24 victories in a row, Big George got a title chance against the young Evander Holyfield, whom he unfortunately lost to by decision of the judges. But he proved he could still give the champions a fight. After 3 more victories, in 1993 George was given another chance to compete for the WBO belt that belonged to Tommy Morrison. But again, he failed and lost again by the decision of the judges. It seemed that his career was slowing down and that the 45-year-old George Foreman was starting to relax. But as a sign of respect, he was given a 3rd chance to compete for the WBA and IBF champion belts owned by Michael Moorer, who had taken them from Holyfield himself. Foreman, who reached round 10, struck the opponent with a left jab and a right cross. He then repeats this combination with an even more powerful one that was too tough for the champion, and he fell into a knockout.
That is the face of shock and awe there. Joe Cortez finishes the
Thus, Foreman made history, allowing the 45-year-old veteran to become a world champion of 2 titles. This is how George Foreman became the world's oldest heavyweight boxing champion and 2nd world champion, despite losing in weight category to Bernard Hopkins. (1995) Julio Cesar Vasquez versus WBC middleweight champion Carl Daniels. In this fight, Julio knocked out his opponent with a stunning left cross to the jaw, from which Carl was very shocked and could not continue the fight. This was Daniels' first title defense, and here he lost the title of champion. (1996) Puerto Rico's Wilfredo Vasquez, fighting against WBA middleweight champion Eloy Rojas, for whom the fight with the Puerto Rican became the 7th champion title defense.
Tremendous stuff from Vasquez, who got through with 2 left hooks, and he's wobbled him. Is this the start of the breakthrough? Right hand! Rojas in terrible trouble, sacked against the doors.
In the 11th round, Vasquez dealt a crushing series of punches, after which Rojas would have collapsed to the canvas, but the referee did him a favor, grabbing him and lowering him gently to the floor.
Rojas has lost his title, and Wilfredo Vasquez is a 3-time explosive beginning to the 11th round that Rojas just...
In 1997, one of the most exciting fighters and a public favorite, Arturo Gatti, entered the boxing arena. This fight, in which Arturo defended his IBF title against Mexican Gabriel Ruelas, was presented with 3 awards at once, namely the Knockout of the Year, the Duel of the Year, and the Round of the Year. But for Gatti, it was as casual as it was for Floyd to earn $100 million in one fight. There was no controversy in this fight. From the very first seconds, both boxers invested their strongest sweeping blows, each one aiming to inflict damage and knock out the opponent. They were not fighting for points, and they did not compromise. It was just a hard exchange of blows, as boxing fans like.
Gatti comes back with a solid right of his own over the top. Watch out for Arturo Gatti's left hook. When Ruelas... 44 fights. Gatti has that many in 29 fights. Left hook to the body by Gatti. Ruelas missing upstairs, and there you see what Gabe means about being the better defender.
At the end of round 4, Gatti was shocked by the Mexican's uppercut, but he managed to recover and strike back with a hard left hook just before the bell. A smile appeared on his face that heralded what the 5th round would bring, the same round that would be named Round of the Year by the Ring magazine. The fighters decided that in this round they would decide which one was better. Raising his arms higher, Gatti took the initiative, and the two clashed in close combat, in which ferocious hooks and uppercuts were thrown. At the same time, the Mexican, due to his physical strength, constantly pressed Arturo to the ropes.
And it verges on becoming a war of redemption for Gabriel Ruelas. And now here comes Gatti again.
Despite this was another war in which Gatti won. At the end of the round, when the Mexican was prepared to strike, Gatti's left hook landed and Ruelas failed.
Right hand lands over the top. Down goes Ruelas. I don't think you'll hold, and Gabe Ruelas gets up, and it says no more.
Arturo defended his champion title, and this fight was one of 4 of his matches that at different times were recognized as Fight of the Year by the Ring magazine.
Looking over it is. I think the body shots are really what weakened Gabriel Ruelas.
In 1998, the rankings were led by the matchless Roy Jones Jr., who did not need a special introduction, since most everyone had heard of this great fighter. At the time, Jones was already the world champion in the WBC and IBF titles, and also had a record of 35 wins and 1 loss. But this match against Virgil Hill was not a title fight. In the 4th round, Roy hit a swing into Hill's core, and this hit was the end for his opponent. The referee stopped the bout, but Hill for a very long time could not get on his feet and was in much pain. Jones' hit was that strong. However, today's review closes with a match between Derek Jefferson against Maurice Harris.
Touch him up. Thank you. Bigger, stronger.
Derek became famous precisely because of this fight, and really the fight deserves our attention. In the 6th round, Derek, pressing his opponent to the ropes, began to inflict tough combinations on him, from which Harris fell to the floor of the ring. He found the strength to get up and continue the fight, and even at some point seized the initiative. But finally, Derek landed a left hook, from which his opponent falls to the floor, and after which he is unable to rise for a long time.
Oh, what a left hook shot. Oh, no. No count necessary.
Derek Jefferson, I love you.
That's all for today. Please comment on which knockout you like the most. Press the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell, so you'll be the first to know when a new exciting video is released. See you next time in the ring.